Hey everyone. Alright, so we need to talk about Maquia, When the Promised Flower Blooms, which is an anime that just got a special event screening last night. I went to see it at the showcase at Teesside Park. Now, this was one I saw a trailer for a while back. It was when I went to see, I think it was the re-release of Code Geass that I got the trailer for this, and I was instantly struck by the trailer. It looked absolutely stunning. So instantly I was sold. So I'd been looking forward to this for about 3 months. I'd been waiting for this, and anyway, it finally rolled around last night. This movie, I was absolutely floored by. I absolutely adored it. The best way to describe this movie, thematically, it's got some similar elements to Highlander. You know, one of the big elements of that movie is when Connor becomes an immortal and he's learning about what it means to be an immortal. And Ramirez says to him, you're going to experience tremendous loss and tremendous loneliness throughout your life. You know, if you allow yourself to become attached to people. Like, of course, the big one is Connor's wife, Heather McLeod. He has to see her grow old and eventually die while he continues on living and he doesn't age a day. So basically, this movie Maquia really takes that element and runs with it. That's what this story is all based on. The main character, a girl called Maquia, she's part of this group of people who live in this faraway land, and you could compare them to the elves from Lord of the Rings. The fair-skinned, fair-haired, blue-eyed. Never age, just continue to live. Very elegant people. They live very structured lifestyles, and are very secluded until one fateful day when the military from the nearby kingdom of I can't, obviously so many different like foreign names and foreign places, but basically this kingdom that's growing in power and is amassing its strength and is becoming basically the one power at the center of the world. It's growing in strength. You know, they finally arrive, or representatives from the kingdom finally arrive, and they want to take a number of the women from this society and bring them back to their kingdom. The idea is, it's subsequently revealed, they want to create like an offshoot, like interbreed, basically. It's a crude way to put it, but that's what the goal is. So they want to create basically a new population within their kingdom of basically, immortals, people who will live for centuries, eternal youth. So they arrive, and things go south real fast. It ends with most of this population of immortals being decimated because these soldiers bring with them these big flying beasts that they've been able to tame, or so they think. Unfortunate thing is, a lot of them are prone to, they call it red eye, but it's essentially they basically turn rabid, and as luck would have it, one of those beasts that they brought with them turned rabid while they were there. So basically, this beast single-handedly wipes out most of this population. And anyway, our main character Maquia, she's subsequently a series of events transpire where she gets basically picked up by one of the flying beasts and is carried off and flung miles and miles away from her homeland into the wilderness. So she's left to wander, and then she comes. So basically, for all she knows, she's the last of her kind. And then she subsequently discovers a, basically a nearby village that had been decimated, presumably by the same soldiers that had arrived in her village. And she finds, obviously, everyone's dead, but there's a baby there, a newborn that survived, and it's basically its mother died protecting it, and he's still wrapped up in her arms. So basically, Maquia decides, the right thing to do is to take this child and raise it as her own. And then that's the big attachment. I mean, I know it's kind of a different kind of attachment. Obviously, Connor and Heather in Ireland are a husband and wife. Here we have a mother and son attachment, and instantly you know where this is gonna ultimately go, and you're bracing yourself already for it to be heartbreaking, because basically early on in the film, obviously all this happens in the first 15 minutes, but we see it's like through montages, and basically she's with her mentor in one scene, and they have the Ramirez and Connor type moment, where Ramirez says to Connor, let Heather go. Basically, we have that equivalent in this. The elder says to Maquia, if you ever fall in love with a person, that's ultimately, if you become attached, you will end up truly alone. So we have that, we have that established right off the bat, and then they form this attachment. And then what then transpires is basically what we saw elements of in Highlander. We see her getting older. Well, we see the people around her getting older, I should say. You know, 10, 20, 25 years pass. You know, the child she adopted, she names him Ariel. He grows up to be grows up, joins the military. You know, the when she was raising Ariel, she was taken in by this family who owned a farm. You see those growing older around her. The two boys she grew up with, who basically became her like brothers, and like uncles to Ariel. They get older. Uh, but she stays the same. And also, one of the things, of course, that Connor had to do in the Highlander films was, he could never stay in one place. Obviously, he left Scotland. We see in Highlander 3 he goes to Japan, spent some time in France, spent some time in England, and then ultimately comes to America. Um, she, Maquia and Ariel have to do this as well. They leave their farm, they go to the big city, then they move from there to another city, and again and again and again, because of course they can't stay in one place for too long, because people will start to ask questions. That girl, she never seems to get older. It's very strange. Um, so yeah, it's very reminiscent, and I really dug the hell out of that. But this is the thing. It was such an emotional roller coaster, this movie, because the character development is absolutely beautiful. Obviously the animation is beautiful, but you always worry about that. Is this going to be a lot of like style over substance? No. This one has the substance. This has substance to spare. Um, yeah, and then it's subsequently revealed that two of the people that Maquia grew up with in her home village survived the massacre. One of them, the girl, she'd actually been taken by the soldiers um, back to their kingdom, and she was going to be the new princess. She's going to be married off in like a royal wedding type, so she's going to hopefully start this new bloodline of the elite, the master race. Um, the guy who survived, he basically has gone dark. He's been like basically he's dropped off the map and he's been moving in the shadows, and it's basically when he reveals himself, his plan is he's going to basically murder the prince and take, you know, his long lost love, back. Um, and basically Maquia gets dragged into all this, and her son Ariel does. And what this ultimately builds up to is one climactic final battle when on the night when this wronged guy launches his master plan, and it also coincides. He'd been plotting with various other kingdoms. He'd been travelling to various places, making all these connections. Other kingdoms that had been um, oppressed and kept being held under the thumb of this high and mighty kingdom that had become this superpower. And basically they came up with this plan. We're going to launch this massive invasion from the water, like naval invasion. We're going to bombard the hell out of this kingdom, and we're going to wipe everyone out. And those who survive, will enslave, basically. So it builds up to this fateful night where everything goes down, and Machia's involved, Ariel's involved. It turns out one of her brothers who she grew up with on the farm, he's now like one of the commanders in the military who, basically he's like Ariel's commanding officer, so it's all woven together brilliantly. And my God, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. You think, like, you have visions, right? Is Maquia going to lose everyone in this? Is she going, is it going to go dark? And it comes very close. Um, Ultimately, she doesn't. She doesn't lose everyone. Fortunately, it doesn't go that dark because obviously she's experienced tremendous loss already in her life. Uh, so it avoids turning into like feeling mean spirited in any way. So his son Ariel survives, you know, and goes on to start a family of his own. And then Maquia is reunited with basically the final member of a civilization, the girl who was taken to become this princess and start this new royal bloodline. She survives. The guy who launched was like at the forefront of this rebellion, who'd been plotting this invasion. He's killed during the battle, so he dies. So the only two of Machia's kind who are left are her and her best friend.